My name is Cliff Bowden. I am the president of Cliff's Custom Floors Incorporated, which is just simply a floor installation primary business. Proactive knowledge of the job. I'll start with that. When a call comes in, I'll just walk it through that way. I like for my builders and the restoration projects and my homeowners, I like to be the one to look at it first before they even go and talk to a salesperson about product. I was just at a house today, for instance, a customer I do a lot of work for in his own personal house. I mean, he's a builder, but in his own personal house, and he wanted to go to a ceramic tile, and I was able to show him before he went down that route to say, hey, your floor's not going to support it without a major overhaul. And so I like to be there first when they're looking at those ideas, to be able to save them time and me time to solve a problem later. And that is literally what I spend probably the bulk of my time doing, is just trying to be proactive, bidding the jobs, I'm not very good at flow charts, but trying to keep everything kind of lined up ahead of time so it's communicated to my employees, communicate with the builders, and hopefully they're communicating with me actual time frames. There's another element. It is a lot of elements. I call it babysitting my jobs. Once I know a job, especially a new job or a restoration one, once I know that it's coming up, I try to get by at least once a week to check on the progress, and that because scheduling is horrendous. There's always going to be somebody ahead of me that gets out of line. So the sooner I know that, the quicker I can adjust and keep my guys on the floors. The most common surprise that happens, I just had this happen about a week ago. We went to go start a job, and thankfully before we tore anything up, it was a redo commercial thing, a small vinyl job. So before we tore anything up, I said, I'm going to go check and make sure this vinyl's in stock. And I went to the retailer, and it hadn't arrived yet, and I said, no, we're doing something else today. So that's one of those issues that can arrive on that particular job. I'll use it to follow it through. The sales lady that sold it, she did a pretty good job. She had a lot of different clauses and riders in the contract. It's a job I hadn't seen myself. So we opened it up, we pulled up the carpet, and there was a 12-inch tile underneath, which would either be asbestos or VCT, vinyl composition. She had a lot of riders in there about the potential of bad concrete. But now we open it up and we find we got this other layer, and so we had to work our way through that one. So that's on that job. Those are the surprises that come up. We call it the discoverables, right? We bailed a bid on what we can see, what we can observe, but there's a lot of things we can't see or observe. The big surprises lately, especially pertaining to I'm just going to bring up the Wagner stuff. Why I have one of those in each of the vans is when we go to do the wood, when we get engineered wood, we check the moisture content. Now, we went through that phase in the last few years where we had all that stuff sitting offshore in containers, and then it was, it's like it was due date would be in a week, and it wouldn't show up for months, and it turns out because it was sitting up in Seattle or somewhere like that, just moisture just wreaking havoc on it. And so being able to check those things, check our subfloor to make sure our subfloors are dry, that is definitely one of those challenges that we've come up a lot in this last few years. More than ever, we've had these moisture issues. One of the other ones, again, I'm going to put the plug in for Wagner, is I go on a job and there seems to be something wrong, or do we have a moisture issue, a leak or something somewhere? And even though primarily these machines are set up for the wood element, it seems, I can take that and go up to the drywall or whatever part of the floor. If I suspect there's a issue with moisture, and we can ferret out fairly quickly where the problem is. I had We had a new house we just dealt with it was about a year ago. We did the work in there, and we get a call back, and they said we got water here and there. And so the builder, he actually he borrows the meter now from me, but I went in there and in fairly quick work was able to trace out, hey, it's coming from over here, and no, you don't have moisture over there, and it's contained to this and that. And then we were able to put it back together relatively quickly. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of stuff. Those are, I mean, I can go on and on all day because I pound my head against the wall, it seems like every day with the issues we bump against on jobs. But I know pertaining to moisture, that's a primary one. I can also bring up, I might as well, over slabs. Wagner makes the RH probes. Being able to drill a hole, put in the sensor, and to be able to check over time, not just the one day, to be able to come back and keep checking what is it. That's really cut a whole lot of guesswork out of what a floor is going to do. And then on my end of it, I tell my guys this too, they're really good at it, is read the instructions. It's amazing when you read a product instruction, whether it's carpet tiles or it's hardwood. All different manufacturers have a little different spec in there, what they want. A roll of vinyl, LVPs. They all have different specs, and when you read that, and then you can check out your conditions around you, and if they match, and we follow those rules exactly, then I don't have to warrant anything. We did the job, we did it correctly. I'm off the hook for any issues, I hope. and that's hopefully how those are taken care of. I don't know how guys get away with doing what they do out there that don't run these tests. Yeah, it's about being proactive. How far we should go with that. And we have very good success, really, checking that stuff ahead of time. Trying to deal with a problem before it becomes a problem.